At the time, at Raborsch for. Oh, I'm playing as Godwin.
Come now, father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a minute. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malashov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
Unless it was a trick.
How does it feel to breathe free air again?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
Or until you become a priest.
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life to the full. Wine, women, and song.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner, but I suppose I'll have to introduce...
Indeed you should. After all...
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old...
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually...
Alright. Anna of Waldstein. Rabbi.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your... I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. And we are both a little on I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred commune. And this is...
Who would rather not be here at all? Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange...
We have more serious the situation. You have men and weapons.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the...
Everything in good...
Did you come to lend money?
Not to lend, but to give.
You don't even know if you can trust him.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. We did not get off to a very good start.
Henry's done a few things I'd like to give him a slap or two for. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of...
Oh, I know.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his own, on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Copula, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like...
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry...
Enough. I'd rather have a drink.
So,
Will you have one too?
Martin
Say.
is his father.
For that,
At least that's what he
there
thinks.
will be more suitable times.
And he's our adopted father, so he would be our brother, I guess, technically. Half-brother. Adopted half-brother. I don't know.
Good health.
L'chaim.
It's all confusing. Well, we just learned some information. Hey, John Liechtenstein. Out here.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here.
With pleasure, sir. As it... Where did you leave Sir Divish?
Sir Divish.
Surely he's not...
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin,
Well, it could be.
Oh no.
What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
well, I have no great
That
expectations.
is going to be interesting.
But, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards the future. As long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest.
Anush.
May I have a word?
You? Anytime. With you, unlike this pack of...
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up their asses. And they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson, but at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Hey, Dry Devil. Just for order. Just seeing who I can interact with.
One beer, please.
Hey, on this guy.
Good health.
No great loss. The Lord be with you. What do you need?
Oh, no. Oh, that's an interesting sitting position. Very close.
Greetings to you, friend.
I'm glad you finally accepted my invitation. I almost lost all hope.
It's not that I didn't.
Hey, Ruthberg is here. Ruthard is also here.
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off.
Oh.
How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
You're quite mistaken, Monsieur Baron. I have.
Ah, je suis désolé. This Bohemia is a strange land. I have seen farmhands, children, and even women fighting. But the clergy? Sainte Mère, do tell me about it. No doubt you fought on the side of truth and honor.
My last big battle was in Kosovo.
I've heard of this battle. Many great men fell there.
Aye. And it was there I decided it was nothing for me. So I settled down in the presbytery in Ujits.
Then, what are you doing here at a meeting of opponents of the crown?
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to amuse us?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Where have you been on your travels? Have you seen the ocean?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
All right.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess. Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our
See his scar
fists.
properly now.
Price! Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That horse son won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with By the way, I'm John of Licht.
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources.
No,
From
he
what
knows
I've
who he
heard
is.
about you, I'd judge you could be quite
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
As it happens, I've got nothing better to do anyway.
Excellent. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings.
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy...
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Wojciech of Kunstadt, Haman Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
What if it doesn't?
I refuse to even consider...
Why me?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. There aren't many like you two.
Tell me a bit more about those people.
Certainly.
Okay.
Wojciech of Kunstadt.
That's just the thing. He's got mass. He doesn't play the big game. Because he doesn't like to. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a cutting?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the... Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Gutenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence.
Anna of Waldstein. A widow.
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite surprised to see her here.
A male affair? Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary... But don't trust appearances. She's got...
And what use can she be to us?
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth and that it was thanks to her.
Oh, okay.
I'll get on it.
I wish us both.
Alright.
Success.
Alright. We gotta manipulate some people into siding with us.
God be with you. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Job's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ! Be praised. You're a...
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is... Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein...
How do you know
I know most of the people here very well. Many of them certainly have doubts about the Margrave's plans. But they wouldn't dream... While it seems that Lord Liechtenstein...
I'd say you have a better nose for people than...
Not only for people, but also...
Then you're in the right place.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. So, to the point.
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to...
Nothing more. I'd say that's plenty.
It's not only your money. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take...
Then I'd be helpful to you. If you want me to support you, you must give me...
Do you have something in particular?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get in...
Who's that?
Haman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him...
Have you fallen out with the...
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of Bartosz are behind it. They're disappointed that I dared out, and the fact that I'm handling his estates.
And these papers...
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself...
You were dealing with the...
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear.
I'm supposed to rob and...
Haman Alder was given the documents to deliver to... He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them.
And the papers...
Just insignificant documents.
All right, I'll help.
Alder will bring them to me. But watch yourself.
Okay.
Odorin's groom has eyes.
I'll tell you, nobody has the nice feet.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Wojciech, and he's a great lord.
That's hard to believe.
Martin likes to.
I'd like to check your horses out. And see.
Pa, even better, but you...
And you might not believe your eyes when you do.
Well. I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation?
Oh, so that's our dad.
Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up, then. What are you doing here?
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you.
How dare you?
You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Alder.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
I'm not happy about it, but I accept. This isn't how I imagined my first meeting with my brother.
Oh.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back.
Oh, it is.
Swing with your whole arm, not just your wrist.
Enough. That will do. My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer.
I was in a war, right after they kicked me out of the Archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Why? Well...
So Father would be satisfied, only he'll never be satisfied.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second...
Not at all. I remember when I was 6 years old, he wouldn't talk to me for a week.
The first time he took me hunting. He let me starve for 3 days until I was able to...
Only
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to right.
And that's why you want to...
Aye.
That sounds very important. Considering you and... After your encounter with Father, actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you...
What else can I do?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust...
All right, then. You've heard Yob's... It's a nice idea,
only no one's going to pay for one.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he...
I expect Alder's not the only one.
You got the...
Leave Alder to me. The plan...
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Huh?
You're starting to sound like...
Okay. So we have a brother as well. Godwin, come on. Henry got a brother, I got a brother, everyone's got a brother.
I'm thinking why we mustn't push too hard.
Sir Bocek, I need to...
A man hardly puts his cup to... Jobs comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes.
On the contrary,
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms?
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention.
How can
I need guarantees of security. I don't.
Of course. Once it comes to protect...
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after. I can't risk it all in a conflict.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the...
My guarantee is called Yitka. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house...
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable...
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept.
How about...
He's a young...
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him, and he'll give her...
And to half the wenches. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation. Maybe it's not...
I'll convict...
I don't care what the young lord thinks. If he agrees...
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice.
Oh, dude, we're out here fucking matching people up and shit. Well...
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do?
Young Lord...
If he's got some impoverished noble's daughter, I'm not going to
You misunderstood my meaning. I mean, with your...
You arranged a marriage for my ward?
With the niece of Sir Bocek, Lord of Kunstadt. Her name's
Bocek of Kunstadt? Godwin, you conniving old bastard.
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it.
We fuck up?
So, young Hans
Or is this a good
to
thing?
marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself.
Cheers!
Cheers to you!
Alright, so it's a good thing. I did it good.
What's that?
Sir Bocek, your niece Yivka.
So Hanush agreed.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end.
Thank you.
Enough formality.
Cheers!
Here's to a...
I'm gonna be drunk as fuck by the end of this. Well, we got Capon betrothed. Papers as well, so should we have her support as well?
Papers from Alder.
Quiet! You don't have to...
My lady, with all the clamor going on here, here they are.
You're more capable than I expected.
You're welcome.
As agreed. I will support
Thank you. No.
Yes, quite. But let's drink.
How could I...
And to the success...
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful
Is this?
Like I said, Mira, tell me, Godwin...
I bring nothing from the House of Udrin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad...
Both of them. Good.
This is going to be a long story.
Okay, so I couldn't do my own house, but maybe I could have. I don't know.
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes. And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects, not only the Christians. Our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Oh, he's just finding out right there. Oh, poor guy. Oh, he's about to faint.
Lords Kunstadt,
Oh no, he's going to go out.
And I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.